This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the new BlackBerry Torch 9800 that's available on AT&T August 12th, 2010. As you can see, this looks like your standard kind of BlackBerry, only there's no keyboard. But wait a minute. Of course there is. This is the first BlackBerry phone that has both a hardware QWERTY keyboard and a capacitive touchscreen that's capable of multi-touch. Gone is that short press keyboard that were used on the Storm 1 and Storm 2, where you actually physically move the display to click. This behaves like an iPhone and an Android phone. You just tap and swipe and all those normal things. Since this is a BlackBerry, we still have the optical trackpad here as well, for those of you who are accustomed to using that. We have a very customized home screen that we'll get to in a minute because this runs BlackBerry OS 6. It's the first OS 6 device. We have the usual red LED over here. It's notifying me that I've just received a new mail message. And we have the sturdy, typical BlackBerry design. Since this is a high-end device, it's got a little style, and it is plastic, but it's got a good quality look to it with the smoked chrome sides here. This is a textured, ribbed soft touch back that's very grippy. We've got the 5 megapixel autofocus camera back here, an LED flash. Your rubberized volume keys and the convenience key on the right. By default, that's assigned to the camera. 3.5 millimeter stereo jack. And up top, a little hard to see probably because it's shiny, but your usual BlackBerry screen lock buttons and the mute key. Now we'll do some device comparisons here. Compare it to AT&T's Samsung Captivate. This is their high-end Android phone with a 4-inch display. Obviously this guy is going to be bigger, but it is thinner since it doesn't have any kind of slide-out keyboard. The iPhone 4. iPhone 4 is about the same thickness as the Captivate, so again, it is thinner than the BlackBerry. BlackBerry weighs just slightly more. And here it is compared to the Bold 9650 on Verizon. Now we'll take a look at the keyboards in comparison too. As you can see, they're almost identical. They have the same sculpted relief on them. Travel is slightly less on the Torch because it's a slider and they were trying to avoid making the phone even thicker than it already is. And as you can see, they have dropped the keyboard down so it's not right up against the edge of the display section so your fingers don't bump into it when you type. That said, it's slightly more awkward to type underneath the slider, and I find that I'm still faster on this form factor, but it's a good keyboard. It takes about an hour to get used to, and then it's pretty good. So we'll take a look at the software that's on the BlackBerry. So you can see here, this looks something like the BlackBerry home screen as you might know it if you've been a BlackBerry user, but there's a lot more going on here with OS 6, and it's very well optimized for touch, and you can also use it pretty easily with the optical trackpad too. And I don't find a need for third-party themes anymore to get things like my calendar appointments or my email on there, plus a bunch of shortcuts that I like, because right here you can see I've got notification of email, RSS feeds, which is something new, and some Twitter messages. And if you tap there, it opens it up. It shows you your calendar appointments that are coming here, email messages received, social feeds, Twitter, RSS, Facebook, and all that good stuff. Here we have the application launcher. We'll get to that in a minute. You've got quick access to profiles over here. And this is universal search, something we're going to take a look at in a minute again, but that's a wonderful feature and something that we've always liked on WebOS as well. And if you tap on the header here, you've got access to all sorts of settings for your wireless radios over here, turning on an alarm clock, and a variety of commonly used settings. Pretty cool. And down here we have the launcher for applications. Now there's no more hit the BlackBerry key to open up your palette of applications. You can just pull up like that. And in fact you can leave this with one row showing, no rows showing, 2, 3, and so on. And beyond that, these are all the applications that are installed on here. You can assign favorites, media apps, downloaded applications, and then it keeps track of your frequently used applications over here. It's pretty darn cool. Very nice, fresh user interface from RIM, not really copying anybody, but it's very efficient. and I'd say very intuitive as well. Next, take a look at the browser. And we'll go to our own home page here. The typical BlackBerry shortcuts are here, like you hit the space bar to get a period. And this is a new WebKit browser. RIM brought a company who had a pretty good WebKit browser, and they finally put it into OS 6 here. So now we've got something that's reasonably competitive with the iPhone and Android and WebOS as well. The phone has an accelerometer, and you can do this, but in the web browser, if the keyboard is open, it will not switch orientation, so you've got to close the keyboard. So here you've got our web page showing on the 360 by 480 pixel touchscreen, and you can pinch and zoom, swipe around. And if you do a double tap, also you can enlarge and reformat and reflow the text. So this is certainly very different from previous BlackBerries that had absolutely horrendous web browsers on them. Okay, now we'll try a very heavy web page, which is Engadget's web page. This is typically pretty stressful for any mobile browser. Taking a while, but it's coming along. You'll notice up here, this is new because this supports multi-page tab browsing, so you've got your choice of swiping through for thumbnails of pages that you currently got open, and you can start a new page just by tapping over here. So that's a world of improvement. I wouldn't say the browser is as fast as the iPhone or the Android web browser you get on a high-end phone, say like the Samsung Captivate, but it's quite good. Next we're going to take a quick look at universal search here. And universal search means that you can search not just the phone, but you can search the web. And you can search inside of applications if you have that capability turned on. And here we'll also get a chance to see the on-screen keyboard. It's a pretty good keyboard, given the size of the screen, which is 3.2 inches. Alright, we've entered search for cats, and shockingly there's nobody in my contacts by that name, and I don't happen to have any pictures or any other media but that name. So I've got an option here to search Google, search Yellow Pages Mobile, BlackBerry App World, YouTube, and search web videos since I've installed a web video application here. So we'll try the search Google function. Opens up another page in the web browser and runs a Google search. And there you have Google for cats. That's universal search. As is typical of GSM BlackBerries, at least the higher end models, this has really good reception. In fact, it gets up to 20 dB stronger signal than the Samsung Captivate and my iPhone 3GS. We don't have the greatest reception here, and typically the iPhone and the Captivate get somewhere between 97 and negative 105 dB of signal, and this guy manages 70 to 81 dB, which is a significant improvement. Call quality is also very good, and you can see what the on-screen data looks like here. You've got access to your contacts directly on screen and also to your call log. Now let's take a look at a little multimedia. We've got the usual BlackBerry music player over here, which is a pleasant player, and we've got a video player. There is no cellular video or mobile video as AT&T now calls it on here, but you do have a YouTube player. You can install web video search, podcasts, and other stuff. So here are the locally stored videos that I have, and we're just going to pick one that matches the resolution of the BlackBerry. It's encoded at a fairly good bit rate, about 1 meg per second. It looks good. The screen is very sharp. It's 188 pixels per inch. So it's looking pretty good. I feel that the resolution matches the screen size pretty well. Everybody was saying, oh gee, I wish it had a higher resolution display, but you know what? Things would have looked awfully teeny if it had. Now we're going to try a video that's encoded at 3000 kbps at about 650 by 380 pixel resolution, much higher than the display on this, and really pretty high bit rate for any phone to handle. We're going to see how it does. And it does surprisingly well, given the 624 MHz CPU and 512 megs of RAM that this phone has. See an occasional frame drop there, but it's pretty watchable. Shocking, really. While we're looking at multimedia, we'll take a look at the built in YouTube. You can see you have an option here to go to YouTube to watch videos or upload videos. Since this has a 5 megapixel camera that can shoot VGA video at 30 fps, it makes a pretty good YouTube recorder. So this takes you to the mobile YouTube site. There is not full flash FLV desktop flash style video support here, as generally there is not on phones. And we're just going to pick something off the front page here. Yeah. We're streaming this over AT&T's 3G HSDPA connection. The phone has 3G HSDPA in AT&T's bands and on the 2100 MHz band for roaming overseas. So you can hear the speaker's pretty good. It's not quite up to the Bold 9000, which is one of the best speakerphones we've ever heard, but it's pretty loud and clear. And very easy to hear for in-car navigation directions. The Torch has 4 gigs of internal storage. It also comes with a 4 gig micro SD card, and again it has 512 megs of RAM for running programs. Other features include Wi-Fi 802.11bgn, Bluetooth with A2DP stereo, and a GPS that works with AT&T Navigator powered by Telenav. There isn't a version of Google Maps out for this yet, but I'm sure there will be. Visit Mobile Tech Review to read the full review of the BlackBerry Torch.